I think it's safe to say that change is on my agenda, change for good. And I embrace that and I enjoy that change. I don't fear it. That's the bit that excites me, is the idea of being able to bring some change.
The British crown has survived invasions, royal shakeups, and even world wars. But what's unfolding inside Buckingham Palace right now feels way more intense than anything in recent memory. This isn't just quiet tension. It's a full-on power shift brewing behind those palace walls, and it's got people watching closely. Prince William isn't playing the waiting game anymore. For years, he stayed quiet, kept that calm smile for the cameras, and handled every public moment like he was supposed to. But behind closed doors, things look very different. Insiders say he's been making quiet moves, setting clear lines, and Camilla Parker Bowles, along with her circle, could end up facing some serious fallout if things go the way people expect.
And I felt, you're losing people every single time you have those headlines. We all get that there's a really big urgent message.
Now, the real question isn't if William's going to step in, it's how far he's willing to take it. Because once he makes a move, there's no going back, and the ripple effect could hit the entire royal setup in a big way. To really get why this matters, you have to look at what shaped him growing up. William didn't just witness royal life, he lived through one of its most painful chapters. The breakdown of his parents' marriage and Camilla's role in it left a mark that never fully faded. Back in the mid-1980s, the relationship between Prince Charles and Camilla started while both were still married, and when those Camilla Gate tapes leaked in 1993, it stunned the public. But for William and Harry, this wasn't just headlines, it was personal, messy, and impossible to ignore. Royal biographer Christopher Anderson, author of The King, The Life of Charles III, has written in detail about how both brothers reacted when everything started coming out. He explained that William and Harry never fully trusted Camilla and carried a deep sense of resentment toward her, mainly because of how strongly they loved and stood by their mother. According to Anderson, neither of them ever felt truly at ease around her, and that discomfort never really disappeared. Princess Diana also spoke openly about the impact of the situation, and what she revealed shocked the world. During her well-known 1995 Panorama interview, she told journalist Martin Bashir, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." That line spread everywhere and became one of the most talked about moments in royal history. But behind the scenes, things were even more serious than people realized. Diana was dealing with intense emotional struggles, including depression and periods of deep distress, and her sons saw far more than anyone their age should have to handle. It wasn't just news to them, it was their everyday reality, and it left a lasting mark. When Charles and Camilla officially married in April 2005, William stood beside his father as best man, showing a calm and respectful front. But many experts believe that moment hit a much deeper inner conflict that never truly went away. Anderson also shared that when Camilla first met William at Clarence House, the tension was obvious. She was shaking like a leaf and even needed a drink afterward because of how nervous she felt. Harry, on the other hand, seemed to carry even more visible tension during those early encounters, making the atmosphere feel even more strained. In his 2023 memoir Spare, Harry didn't hold anything back. He revealed that both he and William had pleaded with their father not to marry Camilla, making it clear how strongly they felt at the time. He described her seeing as a wicked stepmother and even a villain back then, which shows just how tense things really were behind palace doors. Harry also claimed that Camilla shared private conversations with the press to reshape her public image, even if it came at the brothers' expense. That accusation added another layer of distrust and made the situation feel even more complicated. William, however, has never publicly confirmed these exact feelings. He's always stayed composed and polite in public, but let's be real, being polite doesn't mean being warm. As the future king, William knows exactly how to keep things controlled on the surface while keeping his true thoughts locked down tight. The impact of everything that happened back then hasn't just disappeared. That kind of history doesn't fade easily. And when William eventually takes the throne, he'll have the authority to decide what all of it really means moving forward, and who it affects the most. And here's where things start to shift in a big way. William isn't just sitting around waiting for the future to happen. He's already building influence step by step, and King Charles has been quietly handing over more responsibility as time goes on. One of the biggest developments came toward the end of 2025, when King Charles officially named William and Princess Catherine as grantors of royal warrants starting in spring 2026. That move might sound formal, but it signals something much bigger happening behind the scenes. This move isn't just for show, it comes with real power. As grantors, William and Catherine can now approve which brands get to supply the royal household, and even allow those companies to display the royal arms on their products. That kind of endorsement can boost a brand's status instantly, making this role way more influential than it might seem at first glance. Before this shift, only King Charles and Queen Camilla held that authority, so bringing William and Catherine into this space isn't random. It's a clear sign that Charles is pulling William deeper into the core operations of the monarchy. Royal journalist Richard Palmer even called the royal warrant the gold standard of endorsements, and now William is right at the center of it. That's not a small upgrade, it's a serious step toward bigger control and visibility. And it doesn't stop there. William has also been stepping onto the global stage, representing King Charles in major international moments. In November 2025, he attended the COP30 World Leaders Summit in Belém, Brazil, standing in on his father's behalf and showing that he's already operating at a much higher level. This isn't someone waiting quietly in the background. This is someone moving like a deputy sovereign and getting ready for what's next. Behind the scenes, reports suggest his team is already preparing for major changes within the monarchy. According to The Times, William wants to scale back the coronation ceremony to better reflect modern British values. He's reportedly told close friends that he's very aware of the cost of the monarchy and wants a smaller, more focused royal family that actually connects with people. Jason Nouth, the CEO of William's Earthshot Prize, made it clear that this mindset isn't new. He said William has been thinking about the future for years and understands that what his grandmother built and what his father continued is part of an evolution.
It sounds like the monarchy will be shifting in a slightly different direction.
I think it's safe to say that change is on my agenda. I want to create a world in which my son is proud of what we do.
And that word matters because William isn't rushing into chaos. He's planning a controlled, strategic shift that could change everything. Every single royal family member could soon be put under a microscope. According to Joe Little, managing editor of Majesty magazine, no one is automatically safe when it comes to these changes, and that includes Camilla and the people closely connected to her. The shift in power isn't something far off in the future, it's already happening right now. The real question isn't just about power, it's about how William decides to use it and who ends up feeling the impact the most. And when it comes to Camilla, everything could change in a way that's far more serious than most people realize. Here's where things move from royal drama into cold, hard constitutional reality. Right now, Camilla holds the title of Queen Consort, meaning she is the wife of the reigning monarch. That position comes with major visibility, access to royal institutions, a strong public platform, and the full backing of the royal system. She has her own staff, a packed schedule of royal duties, and supports more than 90 charities as a patron or president. That's real influence, real presence, and a role that carries weight across the country and beyond. But the moment King Charles III is no longer on the throne, everything shifts instantly. Constitutionally, her title would change to Queen Dowager, the official term for a widowed consort, as outlined by Royal Central. And that change isn't just a label, it comes with a major drop in authority. As Queen Dowager, she would keep the title and the recognition, but lose any formal constitutional role. No official duties, no direct power, just status without the same level of influence. And here's where it gets even intense. The decisions about her future, where she lives, how visible she remains, and what role, if any, she continues to play, would fall entirely into William's hands. He could allow her to stay at Clarence House, keeping her within the royal circle, or he could encourage a quieter life away from the center of attention. One possible option is Ray Mill House in Wiltshire, a place she has often used for personal time, and which could become her main retreat if things shift in that direction. Royal insiders have already hinted that a full-time move to Ray Mill House isn't just talk, it's a very real possibility. Staff members reportedly understand that this could become her main residence depending on how things unfold, and that alone shows how serious this shift could be. Her future as a working royal, attending events, supporting charities, and representing the crown would also be completely in William's hands. He could choose to keep her involved, slowly reduce her responsibilities, or scale things back dramatically and allow her to step away from public life altogether. That decision won't be random. It will be calculated and intentional. Joe Little from Majesty magazine made it very clear that once William becomes king, he will be the one making every major decision. From her public appearances to her private arrangements, nothing would be off limits when it comes to review. And while royal protocol suggests Camilla would keep her title, that title alone doesn't guarantee influence or visibility in the public eye. Now bring in the emotional and political side of all this, because that's where things get even more intense. Camilla has reportedly told close friends that she genuinely values her role and has long wanted to be queen. Letting go of that position wouldn't be easy, especially after everything it took to reach that point. One insider even claims she hopes Charles remains on the throne for as long as possible, but the reality is that moment won't last forever. And when the transition happens, everything changes instantly. Because at the core of it all, her position is closely tied to Charles. Once he is no longer in power, she would be depending on William, a man who, according to many royal experts, has kept things polite but distant over the years. And that's where another layer of the situation starts to unfold. When people talk about William's authority over Camilla, they often overlook one key factor that could make things even more complicated: the role of her family and the wider Parker-Bowles connection. Her family is where things start to get even more complicated. The Parker-Bowles name has gained serious visibility ever since Camilla became queen, but experts say William may see their place in the royal picture very differently. Camilla's two children from her first marriage to Andrew Parker-Bowles, Tom Parker-Bowles, and Laura Lopes, don't hold royal titles, but their connection to the monarchy has brought them major attention and access. That link alone has opened doors to high-profile events and public recognition that wouldn't normally be there. Tom has built a name for himself as a respected food writer, while Laura works as an art gallery curator, and both have appeared at major royal occasions alongside the king and queen. It all adds to their presence, but it also raises questions about how closely that access should continue under a new reign. Then there's Camilla's sister, Annabelle Elliott, who has been more than just family. She's been a close confidant and an informal advisor within Camilla's circle. Her involvement has sparked ongoing curiosity about how these internal roles operate and whether any arrangements tied to them would be reviewed in the future. Those are exactly the kinds of details William's team is expected to examine carefully. And this isn't just speculation. He's already shown signs of taking a more structured and controlled approach. Reports suggest that when William began forming his own team, some individuals connected to Camilla were no longer included. Royal expert Christopher Anderson explained that this wasn't personal. It was strategic. William wants people he fully trusts in key positions, and he's making that clear early. That move sends a strong message. Family connections and past influence don't automatically carry over into a new reign. You have to prove your place. The Parker-Bowles family's visibility has been closely tied to Camilla's position, and if her role becomes smaller, their access could shrink right along with it. This is the harsh truth about royal connections. Things don't always end with a loud fallout. Sometimes it's much quieter and hits even harder. The word banished might sound extreme, but in reality, it often looks like a slow fade that's impossible to ignore. Access starts to shrink, invitations become less frequent, and that sense of inclusion begins to slip away bit by bit. There's no big public announcement, no dramatic moment, just doors quietly closing over time. Events that once came easily might suddenly require special approval, and eventually those invites may stop coming altogether. And in royal circles, being slowly forgotten can sting even more than being openly pushed out. It's happened before, and it's not just theory. Diana experienced that shift, Prince Andrew faced it too, and Harry went through his own version of it too. Now, some believe the Parker-Bowles family could be heading toward a similar situation if the structure tightens, because William's vision is becoming clearer than ever, and it leaves very little room for extras. He's aiming for a slimmer, more focused monarchy that cuts away anything seen as unnecessary. He's made it known that he believes the royal family has grown too large, too expensive, and at times too disconnected from everyday people across Britain. That perspective has been shaped by what he witnessed growing up and what he sees now. He respected how Queen Elizabeth II maintained stability through discipline and consistency, not excess. At the same time, he's watched his father manage a monarchy under pressure, especially when it comes to justifying costs during difficult economic periods. And now, William is preparing to take things in a new direction. Reports from the time suggest he wants a coronation that feels simpler, more modern, and easier for the public to connect with. His goal is to reshape the firm into something sharper, more efficient, and still relevant, but without a large circle of extended royals surrounding the crown. Some members of the royal circle have already seen what happens when the rules change. Prince Andrew, for example, lost his official titles. Sarah Ferguson, once known as the Duchess of York, also saw her standing reduced after past controversies. The message coming from the current reign couldn't be clearer. No one is completely untouchable. Status can shift, roles can disappear, and long-standing positions don't always guarantee a permanent place. William has been watching all of this closely, and he's clearly taking notes. Royal correspondent Jenny Bond told the Mirror that the idea of becoming king is a huge responsibility for both William and Catherine, but he doesn't seem shaken by it. If anything, he looks prepared and focused on what comes next. And here's where his vision becomes very direct. A slimmer, more streamlined monarchy simply leaves no space for extended family members who don't hold official roles. That means fewer appearances, fewer honorary positions, and a much tighter inner circle. There's no built-in place for stepped relatives or extended connections when it comes to state events or formal duties. The system William appears to be shaping is based on purpose, not just personal ties. Camilla's children, while successful and respected in their own fields, have lived largely private lives and are not part of the official royal structure. And under William's approach, that distinction matters more than ever. When he takes the throne, they wouldn't be expected to step into royal roles or carry official status. In a monarchy focused on impact, clarity, and public relevance, there's simply no clear reason to expand involvement beyond those directly tied to core duties. William's vision isn't about being harsh, it's about being clear and direct. But in the royal world, that kind of clarity can cut deep and leave people uneasy. Behind all the polished appearances, there's a layer of tension that doesn't fully disappear. On the surface, everything looks smooth. William and Camilla show up to events, stand by each other, smile for the cameras, and keep things respectful in public. But insiders and royal experts say the real story isn't that simple. Beneath those formal moments, there's said to be a noticeable strain that never quite fades. Christopher Anderson, who has closely followed the House of Windsor, claimed that William doesn't have a close or warm bond with Camilla. According to him, William tolerates her rather than truly respecting or caring for her, which says a lot about the dynamic behind closed doors. He also pointed out something even more surprising. Camilla is believed to feel uneasy around William. There are also small moments that have caught people's attention in a big way. For example, during one public event, William was reportedly seen not bowing to Camilla, something royal watchers immediately noticed, because protocol would normally expect that gesture given her position. The palace didn't say a word about it, but in royal circles, silence can say a lot more than any statement ever could. Moments like that don't just get ignored, they get remembered and quietly analyzed. At the same time, not every insider paints the situation as completely cold. A source close to Camilla's family told Us Weekly that William has, over time, become more accepting of her and that they now share a kind of family relationship. But even that comes with a catch. The same source admitted that there's a lot to overcome, and that line says everything without saying too much. It doesn't sound like a close bond. It sounds more like a careful balance that both sides are trying to maintain. Right now, that balance works because open conflict wouldn't benefit anyone. But the second the situation changes, especially when William becomes king, that entire dynamic could shift overnight. Because once he holds the crown, William wouldn't be in a position where he has to keep the peace in the same way. History shows that monarchs don't always maintain relationships out of obligation. They make decisions based on what they believe serves the institution best. So the big question remains, what will King William actually do when that moment comes? Royal experts are cautious when it comes to making bold claims, because the monarchy rarely handles things in a loud or dramatic way. There won't be some shocking announcement or public fallout. It doesn't work like that. Instead, everything tends to happen quietly, through subtle decisions that slowly reshape the structure. And according to those who study the royal family closely, there's already a clear expectation forming. Joe Little from Majesty magazine has stated that Camilla would keep her title as Queen Dowager, as required by protocol. William is expected to respect that tradition. But beyond the title, every detail of her role, visibility, and involvement could be carefully reviewed under his reign. This means Camilla's role wouldn't just stay the same, it could be carefully reassessed and possibly scaled back in a noticeable way. Christopher Anderson has suggested that while she may still appear at certain royal events, those appearances would likely become far less frequent and much more limited. Royal Central also points out something crucial. Once she becomes Queen Dowager, Camilla would hold no constitutional role at all. That changes everything because her charity work, public visibility, and even her living situation would all fall under review by the new king. And when it comes to her family, the outlook becomes even straightforward. Their proximity to royal power has always been closely tied to Camilla herself, so if her influence fades, theirs is expected to fade right along with it. Would they be officially cut off? No, that's not how the monarchy usually operates. But what could happen is a quiet shift where invitations stop coming, access becomes limited, and appearances at major events slowly disappear. Experts say this wouldn't necessarily come from personal motives, but from structure. Under William's vision, roles are defined by purpose, and those without a clear function simply don't remain in the spotlight. William has spent his entire adult life preparing for this moment, and he's been shaped by everything the royal family has gone through, especially the more personal and complicated chapters involving Camilla and her circle. When he eventually takes the throne, he's expected to lead in a way that reflects those lessons. For Diana's son, this isn't about revenge. It's about setting a direction he believes is right for the future. The monarchy has lasted for centuries because it adapts, and with every new reign comes a shift in priorities, roles, and loyalty. And this next chapter could be one of the most defining yet. William is bringing change, no question about it. And the most striking part is how he's doing it quietly, step by step, without making loud moves, but still shifting the entire direction of the monarchy. Right now, it's still unclear exactly how things will play out for Camilla's family. Will they slowly be pushed to the sidelines or simply fade out of the royal spotlight over time? That answer isn't public yet, but one thing is certain: the final decision will rest with King William. Because when that moment comes, he'll define who truly belongs in his version of the monarchy, and those who held their place through Charles might suddenly find that position doesn't carry over into what comes next. If you found this interesting, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with others who are following the royal story. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think William will handle Camilla's family fairly, or is their time already running out? Stay tuned, because this story is far from over.